we won't. So with no further ado, I want to turn the event over to Ralph Middlecamp, our national president.
Ralph has learned that in the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, Ralph is not as rare of a name as it is in most of our lives. Usually if someone says Ralph within a city block, it turned my head. Besides this Ralph, there's at least one other Ralph, who is actually president of our disaster corporation, which we formed about a year ago. It's a tremendous gift to our society and our country. So how could I turn down another Ralph to come to Idaho? I've also enjoyed the pleasure of knowing Mike for many years too. And I've known you've had great leadership and good programs here, so it's really a privilege for me to come to be with you. And the other advantage of going far away from home is I can give a talk that probably more than what Ralph and Mike has heard before. So we have some old material. No, but I'm also going to bring you some brand new stuff too, some brand new insights in what we're doing as a national council of the United States. So a lot of what I've been focusing on this first year is to take a step back from some of the great things that Sheila initiated, and take a deep breath, and to combine vision and roots, because we need to pay as much attention to our roots and who we are as we do to where we want it to go. Both are important, but if we don't make sure we have a good foundation, we're not going to be able to sustain what we know the Holy Spirit is calling us to do. Now, that fun little cartoon there, by the way, is me talking to St. Vincent apparently. It was the going away present when I retired from my staff. I had a staff of a lot of people at the end, a couple hundred people, but my lead truck driver was a young guy, he was a character. When I had senior staff meetings, he'd always be doodling. Drawing moving pictures of everything. Eventually I got him to draw pictures that became our advertising campaigns. So they all got him to draw a going away present of me having a conversation and listening to our patron St. Vincent de Paul. Actually, it was very meaningful and touching for me. I think that's what we all need to do, really, is to have that posture of listening. Listen to the saints that came before us, our founders, our mentors, your own past leaders in your society. So, that's important. So, and it's important to get to our roots. Some of you may be aware that at the mid-year meeting, only a half year ago, we redid our mission statement. How many of you are familiar with that change? Barb, you better be. Mike, the society for years had a wonderful 3-paragraph vision statement. And anyone who knows a mission statement would go, that's not a mission statement. You ought to be able to memorize a mission statement. So we did lose that, by the way, that nice 3-paragraph thing. It's now called our identity statement. But a mission statement needs to be succinct. And so this is the mission statement that we first looked at the International Society. They came up with a new mission statement. We said, well, we've been talking about this for years. We've got to just do it. They did it. Let's look at what they did. I appointed a small little task force. They went off, actually, during a board meeting, they come back, and they created something very close to this. We talked at the business meeting. We had a consensus process. We changed it slightly. Several other options were brought up, but I think this is a good capture of who we are. It's a network of friends inspired by gospel values, growing in holiness, and building more just work in personal relationships with and service to people in need. We can memorize that, right? It also captures the essential elements of friendship, service, and spirituality, starting with spirituality, inspired by the gospel. Now, the old statement, which is now our identity statement, said we are a Catholic lay organization. And that was probably the most controversial piece to lose. It's still in our identity statement. But a mission statement should be something that everyone in the organization can claim as their mission. And so it was important. We're inspired by gospel values, but we have associate members, we have donors, we have lots of people who we all want to share that mission. And we hope they're all inspired by gospel values. But the old one used to start with, well, we're Catholic, then we had to say it was a lay organization. And then we had to say, but it does include these people and those people. We got into like 3 sentences qualifying what it meant to be a Catholic lay organization before we got to who we are. So be aware that we did discuss that, and we left an identity statement that still has that very clearly in it. I think this is a good start going forward to really get to our roots. And it's really the roots in our founders, what they left us. By the way, for those of you who don't know, our founders did pose for a group picture. Wonders of Photoshop. That's 6 of the 7 of their pictures. Frederick on the right. So we're rooted in this, the rule of growth. In all we do, we really have a beautiful rule, and I hope you all go and visit it again and again. Every time I go back to it, I find things. And the next 2 days, you'll be here to be told different things in. But this part of the rule, I think, also reflects that mission statement we just talked. And I'm going to be spending time back at this at several points, but 3.3 of the first part of the rule, which is the international part of the rule, says that the members meet as brothers and sisters with Christ in their midst. Talk about that actually tomorrow in particular. Spiritual bonds and friendship between members are essential, as is the common mission to help the poor and marginalized. The entire society is a true and unique worldwide community of consensual friends. Isn't that wonderful? Who we are. Tomorrow I'm going to talk some about that one society and being a worldwide organization. One of the privileges of being in my role as your president. I'm your single delegate internationally, so I get to see these people. 150 countries worth. I get to sit with the presidents from all over the world and see the wonderful things they're doing as well. So this mission, the sense of the essential elements of spirituality, service, and friendship were core to why we were founded. Some of you probably know this very well. You've done those orientations, but I want to revisit our founding a bit to understand what our roots really are. Our founders were college students at the Sorbonne in 1833, young men. And they got together, and they were members of a society which was called the Conference of History, which debated social issues of the day, including the Catholic faith and the life of things. They were debaters. Half of those guys became lawyers. As a matter of fact, one became a medical doctor, one a teacher. All the rest became lawyers. So they liked this debating, and it was a very anti-Christian, anti-Catholic. This was a time right after the Revolutionary War. And so they were arguing with socialists and anarchists. And at one of those meetings, they were challenged in a debate. They said, Saint-Simonians actually say, Christianity did wonders in the past, but is now dead. You who boast about being Catholics, what do you do? Where are your works? They went on and said, well, we know some of the religious do, but what do you do? And God bless them, these young guys who had the heart. And Frederick Rosenau really then had the insight, we need to do what our Lord Jesus Christ did with preaching the gospel. Let us go to the poor. So the first meeting was in April 21st, 1833. Frederick Rosenau's 20th birthday. We met at Emmanuel Bay. He was printing office. So Frederick, at several points, though, reflects about the founding. And I want to spend just a little time going deeper there. So one of he writes a year after the founding, maybe a year and a half, to a young friend in a different part of France, reflecting, and says, if we assemble under the roof of the poor, it is at least equally for them as for ourselves, so as to become progressively better friends. And I can tell walking around the room tonight, good friends. If you're not already, you're going to be, as you grow in. This group of students, they were friends first, before they formed anything. And I think that's really built the roots that sustained them through some difficult times. And they realized by doing this service to the poor gave them a common purpose to live out their faith. This is an interesting point. Excuse me, the whole hour. You said you're the timekeeper. I don't want to step on your talk, so we'll keep it short. But in 1836, Frederick had graduated from college. He was back in Lyon, And he actually visited some industrial things. He has this revelation. And this really is the beginning of Catholic social teaching. One of the first people to really recognize the things and start using the language. So he starts writing to Manuel Bagui. He's the mentor, the older gentleman. He's the president. He has sharing his insight. Within the week he writes a letter to 3 other guys. So something's burning about this. But it gives us a clue about why he thought we ought to expand and become this worldwide organization. He says, let us work to increase and multiply, to become better, more tender, and stronger. The disorder in society becomes more and more apparent. The social problems, that word there, he uses a number of times. This is the same word that Leo XIII will use in Rerum Novarum. Some of the first times we start seeing this is 75 years before with Frederick's writing. I don't want to say he invented this. It's what's being talked about in this group of students. The social problem. The social problem is defined in the pink there. It says the conflict between poverty and riches, between self-interest, which wants to take the socialist around them, and the self-interest that wants to keep the extreme capitalism around them. He says, it will be terrible if charity does not interpose, if Christians do not influence with the force of love. Fascinating. The purpose wasn't to do a lot of good works. It wasn't to embrace socialism and give it away. It wasn't to embrace capitalism. And this is very similar to the ways of John Paul, St. John Paul II, when he does the analysis of it. It's the job of the Catholic Christians to put ourselves between those two camps, because we know both. We understand both camps, and it's through love. So that's the purpose. That's the purpose. He is seeing that this organization needs to go to do this. So that focus. Frederick dies at 40 years old. 1853, he dies. He's 40 years old. So he's. By the way, you're going to suffer with me for 5 more years. Those of you, I love history. So you're going to see it in my e-Gazette columns and other places. But I really think building on our roots to know who we are is important. So Frederick is ill. He stops teaching. He goes to Italy to try to recover. And throughout his whole illness, every time he feels a little better, he goes and starts to conferences and visits people. So he's in Italy and feeling a little better, and he starts visiting the little conferences, just like I visited you all. But, he just, let's go talk to these people. They're all delighted to see him, of course. So, anyway, he has this observation. He says, our objective was to keep ourselves firm in the Catholic faith. Let us help our neighbor as Jesus Christ did, and let us put our faith under the protection of charity. So he has these 3 observations, all right. One is to strengthen their friendship, to maintain that friendship. One is to do the work of charity and the love. And the final is to, just by doing this work and being together, preserve these young students' Catholic faith in a very hostile environment. So those are all embedded in the mission that we carry forward. They're in our roots. In my opening address after I was installed as president in Tampa, I ended it with these 3 questions as where I wanted to start. A lot of people, after I was like, okay, what are you going to do? What's your vision? And I was like, I don't have a vision. It's really a vision. I want to be a listener. But this is what I wanted to ask the society as a whole, as we went into the strategic planning process that I talked about this evening. First is, how can we help each other be better friends and essentials? The second is that how can we make our organization just function better? At some point, we can have all these great ideas in the world, but if it's not working right, if we're not doing proper training, if we don't have leaders who understand their roles, kind of if the Xerox machine's not working, it doesn't make any difference what's happening in the office, or if the internet goes down, right? So at some point, we need to have the basic function. Third, how can our society better serve Christ in the person of our neighbor? And finally, probably most importantly, how can the people we serve help us to be better followers of Christ? So we met as a board very early to start a strategic planning process. We've all done these things, but it was very important to me and to the board to really do something that was inclusive. Way back when Gene Smith, how many of you remember Gene Smith as president? Somebody, good man. He had been Western Region president and national president, good friend and mentor. Well, he really began the turnaround of the society. Someone was commenting earlier that they thought we were getting better. Well, that goes back to Gene. I was a young member then, and every member of the society male got sent a questionnaire. It was the first time I'd ever done that. Just asking some of the questions. I told my board, it's time to do something like that again. We've had 3 strategic plans since then. But a lot of times it was the board that did it, or a small planning group. It was important to go back. What the original one did, by the way, what came out on the top was spirituality. People were hungry for it. And the society back 30 years ago was not paying that much attention. We did the work. We had the food pantries, the stores, but a lot of people were not really understanding the spiritual nature of society, and they wanted that, which became really the whole emphasis that we've been blessed with since then in terms of the resources. So we wanted to do that again. Appointed Brian Burgess, our vice president, to do that process. We also used a model of appreciative inquiry. A lot of you are familiar with that. We talk about that invitation for renewal when we do our planning process. But it's, let's start with what's right. This little cartoon is great. The guy with the right saying, look what we're missing. And the other guy on the left says, look what we got. What we really wanted to do is, in a typical planning process, a lot of times in a SWOT process, you start with where are the threats? What's wrong? What do we need to fix? Well, we didn't want to do that. We wanted to say, what's good? What can we build on? So we did a survey in the E-Gazette. We got about 2,000 responses. We surveyed the EDs at one of their meetings. We put that in their account. We had several processes at regional meetings, at the mid-year meeting, all the time asking questions, eventually coming up with some skeleton of ideas, bringing it back to groups and saying, how's this looking? So I want to share a little bit of that process with you. So our online survey had probably about 2,000 people respond. And so one of the questions we wanted to ask is, in the appreciative inquiry model, like, what do we have to build on? We're just asking, what attracted you to the society? Why did you join? Right? It's worth finding out. I think if we want more people to join, we need to understand why join. And we want to make sure we don't lose that as we move forward with the vision. So, not surprisingly, right? 73.4% says they wanted to do service for people in need. How many of you joined because you wanted to help people in need? It's like a good 75%. Now, we found that this is important. Someone asked me to join. I highlight that particularly as we look to grow and expand. I do a history thing for leadership training, and there's some marvelous work that the French have done on all of our first founders. They have almost a complete life history of the first 100 founders. They know their parents. Anyone who thinks that they shouldn't fill out annual reports because that's not what the society does, and that's just bothersome, or you don't understand the French. The French love their reports and the little details. So much so we know all of those guys, we know what their fathers were, we know what their careers were, we followed them and all kinds of things. Well, one of the things, there's a little diagram about how they all got in. And about 75% of those first 100 more, it's like a spider web. This person has that person has another person. You know, Frederick Ozanam has a little web that goes out 3 levels of AE. In that whole group, there's only a couple, well, there's probably a dozen at most, that are kind of paired off. I like to always say, those are the people that read it in the Paris Bulletin. But that's not how we started. We started by someone saying, I'm in this group that I think you would be good at. I'm enjoying it. Or if you've got a talent we really need. You know, or as Jack and I were talking, you retired recently, didn't you? I retired a little over a year ago. I was telling Jack, my wife gives me a hard time. She said, you didn't retire, you just stopped making money. So we also did find, though, some people, they were looking for that faith-sharing group. And we also found that some people just were looking for something to do. That's another amusing one. When I was executive director, we moved my office. We built a new building, big food pantry, and lots of services in my office was upstairs. The food pantry downstairs. I really enjoyed going down for coffee breaks and talking to the volunteers. Every so often there'd be some new guys there, and I'd sit and talk. And a lot of them were very professional men in their careers. Especially I asked how they got involved, why they joined. Eventually I started asking some of them, did you find this job, or did your wife find it for you? The most memorable, the latter happened more often than you might guess, but one of my most memorable ones was a guy said, well, I was retired, and he had a list of things that a lot of men did when they retired. He says, I worked my way through there, and all was good. And then I started innovating, and when I alphabetized her spice cabinet, she handed me this pair of bulletins. And that's why I'm here every Wednesday. Many directions that we get here. So, the next interesting thing, though, that we need to realize is why people stay. Why? And so we let people pick two of them in this category. And the top one still, 76%, is that it feels good to help people. That's why they joined originally, and they still think that. But interesting enough, right? 60% of them got it. The next biggest group is it nourishes their spirituality. Isn't that great? We're on the right track. The next one, they enjoy the friendship. So it was a good indication nationally of why people have stayed there for the right reasons. They still want to serve the poor. They want to serve Jesus. But they're being nourished spiritually, friendship. Some of them are doing the mentoring, something like some of your reentry programs are, or something like getting out. Some just gets them out of the house, gets them out of the community. I like the last one best. I was going to read the fine print. But it says, I would like to quit, but I can't find anyone to replace me. That was almost 4% of the response. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands for that. Jack and Ralph might not want to hear it. Well, like many of these kind of surveys, we did a demographic study. And you just need to know who's out there, who's responding. And so race-wise, we're still a very Caucasian organization. These numbers are a little less representative probably than who we are because it was an online survey in terms of ethnicity. For instance, I think we're coming along better Hispanic than that represents is 3.5%. We've got 10 Hispanic council presidents, diocesan leaders. We've got about 13 of the 100 people of color. We're starting. Got a long way to go. I spent last weekend at the Cinco Encuentro, which was the Hispanic leadership. And it was an exciting time. And we heard all of the statistics that we all know that 60% of the church is going to be Hispanic very soon. And about half of that is Hispanic teenagers right now. We are a very different church, so we know we can do that. Years involved, less than 31%, 5 to 19, almost 60%. Now this age group, that's an interesting one, isn't it? So when we had the planning group, we were doing this online survey monkey process. And so the assumption as we did it was, well, it's going to skew younger. Because some of our older members might not be so comfortable logging into this survey monkey thing, doing it all. And so we kind of braced ourselves knowing that. So when we started to get to the age thing, we had a different breakdown. And I don't know whose idea it was, but they said, I think we had 75 and above, or 70 above. So let's do every 10 years, and let's do an 80 or above. Look at that. So the truth of the matter is, we have more people over 60 than we do under 60. Any of us in leadership, that should scare us. Right? People online, answering the online survey, we have more people over 60 than we do by a long shot that we get those numbers. It's only about 18% under 60. So that told us a lot. So as we developed this plan, we decided to organize it into focus areas. The goals would be under these headings. If you look at these headings, they track our mission statement. Okay, you see that? So under these focus areas, our first one was to expand and strengthen the network of friends. The next one was to encourage and support Vincentians on their journey, on their spiritual journeys. Third was to advocate and work towards a more just world. Fourth, to promote meaningful relations with those we serve. Meaningful relations with those we serve. And finally, to develop and improve and expand services. So we floated those into the groups and everyone felt really good about those. And then we had to get into the messy part. I'm not going to do the whole plan with you all, but I am going to run through the high-level goals. We've got a meeting. These were approved by your National Council a month ago in San Diego. Under it, we'll have, a lot of these aren't measurable, they're not as specific as they need to. There'll be work objectives under every one of these, and some of them even sub-things under it. So this gives you some idea of where we're going. Because where we're going, we go together. And so some of this stuff won't happen unless we all really see the value of it. So the first one, then, under the one, expand and strengthen their network of friends. First, we're going to create a culture that encourages and values servant leadership. One of the lacks in our society across the board is of leaders. It's many of the people we find, you probably see it too, they join us to do their service, 75% of it. We have people that are leaders, the president of their Rotary Club, their parish council, their volunteer people. They come to St. Vincent de Paul and they don't want to be part of it. They did that somewhere else. They just want to come somewhere to help people. Well, if we don't have leaders that are trained, inspired, none of the rest is going to happen. So that we really need to have a culture that encourages the values and leadership of our members. We want to strengthen the organizational capacity at all levels. We want to increase the number of members, conferences, and councils. And finally, to promote solidarity and friendship. All of those go under the head. Each one of those will have a set. We're not going to do it all. These are big picture. This is a direction we're going. So some of these will have, they would, well, if every council could just add 2 conferences in the next 3 years, maybe just one, we will start moving. So the next area is spirituality. We want to celebrate that essential element of spirituality. We want to enhance the formation and growth in the number of spiritual advisors. Under that, I already know there's an objective of having every conference have a trained spiritual advisor in the next 3 years. And it won't be the priests very often, it'll be someone that will work with the priests. And we want them to receive some training that's already available. There's wonderful training for spiritual advisors, both in printed form and webinars, and they happen at national meetings or regional meetings. I think if we don't have people in every conference that understand the essential cares of spirituality, we run the risk of getting off track. Every time I've been called in to see the problems around the council very often, what's lacking first is spirituality. They got off track. Advocacy, Sheila Gilbert, my predecessor, put us really on the map for that, so did Joe Flynn. But we wanted to inspire the members to embrace Catholic social teams. Given that our members were very no, since Leo the 13th, since Frederick Ozanam, this has been part of what it means to be Catholic. We're going to talk to you about that. And also then to work to establish St. Vincent de Paul as a leader for issues of poverty and justice. I'll talk a little bit about this because it's a very narrow role that we particularly have the ability to perform. And Frederick Ozanam will leave us with wonderful words about how to thread that needle. relationships, to promote deeper relationships. To start off with, we've done a lot already. With us, this is a need to understand diversity, both to welcome members into our councils and conferences, but also to understand the people we serve and the lives that they're leading. And finally, to reinforce the importance of the home visit as a personal, transformational experience. I laugh every time I see it because I know exactly the system on that language. But the idea here, how many of you, have you seen the last Serving at Home 7 on the home visit? Have you seen that publication? Ralph, I hope you look at that. The Serving at Home series is set up so you can do them at conference meetings. And some of them have videos with them you can look at. They have some readings and an opportunity for group discussion. The last one came out on home visits. And it is good on home visits, period. But it also reinforces this notion of that it's a relationship that it should change us to be in their homes, hear their stories. When I do home visitor training, no, I better say it, I'm growing too much to do much these days. But every time you get people with their pad of vouchers, you look like the doctor writes my prescription. Okay, they're not interacting. They're there to fill out that form. What do you need? What do you need? Okay, right. Here, take it. Here's my copy. Here's yours. We need to move that. That's not what Frederick had in mind for home visits. That's not what our society hopes happens. We're in people's homes, or even at your food pantry. That's a mini home visit. When you do things in prison, that's their home. When they come out and visit them, and it should be we share, but they share too. So we're working to make that more and more part of who we really are, and part of our culture. And finally, the service. The thing that everyone thinks we should go the right way is number 5. Formalize a process to share and promote model programs that can be replicated. By the way, re-entry program, I already know is one of the objectives under there. That's a solid case example of it. It's already, I know, on the next level that we were talking about. One of those model programs that can be replicated. There's also pharmacies. I'm from a council. We run a free pharmacy. Looks like we're getting about $900,000 worth of prescriptions this year in Madison, Wisconsin, which is about the size of your city. Dallas, Texas just started one this week. They were looking at ours. It's a good example of a model program. They were studying ours for 2 years. They had to look at those state laws and pharmacies and suppliers and fundraising. Some of these programs will become model programs. We certainly, number 2, we need to strengthen and expand our stores. We haven't paid a lot of attention to that for the last 15 years. A lot of our stores are flat. And they fund a lot of what we do. We just hired a national stores director or coordinator, Lori, from Seattle. So much of our funding at the national and local level comes from those stores. It's not what the founders envisioned us doing, but it was a special part of what we do. They're also our most public face. I used to tell my truck drivers when my fundraiser and I probably have good meetings with 10 or 12 people a month at best, and things are going well. Those guys were in 70 homes a day. They can screw up things faster than we can make them good. They can make them bad. Parking crooked on their lawn, or the call that I got from an irate donor that said, I was in a funeral procession and your truck barged into the middle. So little things, So we need to make sure that our employees at our stores reflect our values. Strengthen and support councils in providing housing and services to those without shelter. Here again, it's a matter of best practices, sharing them. Under Joe Flanagan, we eliminated the housing task force that we had. The international family, under Father Tomas Merchek, really wanted the whole family worldwide to look at shelter and especially street homes. And it's kind of a backward way to bring up the topic, but He formed this international commission, and no one from the United States, St. Vincent Paul, was even asked about it. We got a guy from Australia to be on it, and I talked to Dave and some of the staff, and they say, actually, it's our fault, because we don't talk about that. We don't talk to each other about it. We all do our great little things locally. So I asked Dave to ask Tom Malloy, who works with Barb at the prison also, as a poverty program. I gave him about 20 names where I knew we had good housing programs. Eugene, Oregon, has stuff. They're all over. I think you've got some good ones up in Coeur d'Alene. So I just wrote out a bunch of them and said, call around, let's start a directory and ask them 4 different questions. Just day shelters, emergency shelters, transitional services, long-term supported, and then how much money they spend doing it. Well, just from the list that I have, we spent over $50 million on housing. So that's, in the nation, the numbers we get from your annual reports, we only probably, nation's gross of all that we spend doing everything is about $550 million. Just from a quick thing, we have $50 million of it in housing. And no one would ever think of St. Vincent Paul as a major provider of housing. We didn't really. So from that alone, we've concluded that there's no other national charity in the country that does more housing than the Society of St. Vincent Paul. We could go to foundations with that information. Our own members don't even. I asked the executive directors. They didn't know that. I'll offer the same thing about reentry. Even though it's a new program, I think with some surety, I can say there's no other national charity in the United States that does more work with returning prisoners than the Society of St. Vincent Paul. It's not a lot. It's got a long way to go, but who else is doing it on a national level? There's some good pockets all over the place that do much better than us in many of those communities, but they're one-offs. We can have a national level, sharing best practices, sharing resources, looking for funding together. There are ways we can make all of these better. And finally, to look at the unmet needs in our community, using the talents of members. And that last line, that last objective, I think is important. Using the talents of members. I used to tell my board all the time, if I could find the money, I could hire social workers all day long and just keep, and we could do a lot. But that's not who St. Vincent Paul Society is. That's Catholic Charities. It might be Lutheran Social Services. But unless somehow our members are engaged in it, we ought not to be doing it. Now, in many of these areas, staff is critical in things like housing. It may be only providing some meals at a shelter. It may only be having a birthday party at a shelter. There's a lot of case management and some mentoring you need to do with a professional staff. But we should not be starting any of those things if it's just to be staff-driven and we just find the money for it. So that's a set of goals. It's a 3-year plan. It's an ambitious plan. We don't have no intention of doing it. And we also will be doing it with a process that will be flexible, changing as we go. I love Dilbert. I'm thinking of getting into the strategic planning game. If I understand the job description, you basically hallucinate about the future and something different happens. That's what we hope not to do. I hope I haven't been up here hallucinating for the last 15 minutes and hoping something different happens. To that end, though, one of the things I think that's important for me, vice presidents and board members, to come to the local council is to make sure you all understand the wealth of the structure that you all have to work with. And encourage some of you to step out beyond your council comfort zones, to join other things on a national or regional level. It's not as it's going to happen. Many of these committees have regional reps on them. If you have a passion for some of these areas, let us know. So these are some of the committees that are going to help make this happen besides our board. We have a growth and retention committee. We need to expand. We also need to retain. They changed their name this year. It used to be called Extension Committee. Good Catholic word, right? Extension. My wife always would say, what's that? There's a whole bunch of these Catholic words. We know what they mean. The rest of us outsiders don't. So the Growth and Retention Committee will have a major part informing how we're going to move their content. We have a formation committee. They do the training for spiritual leaders, or Ozanam orientation. We've got to figure out ways to do better at that. Looking at ways to give members the opportunity, maybe with online Ozanam orientations, that are just a short little 2-hour thing, half-hour thing that you can do at home, and then eventually go to the half-day training. Because we find too many members wait too long. They've never heard about Frederick Ozanam, and they're already a council president. So we need to look at how we do formation. Multicultural and diversity committees are going to be really important in this changing church lives. Under that, we have an African American and an Hispanic task force. Youth and young adults, we have a great young adult committee. I just added Kat Brissett, who just graduated from college, to our board. She went to the national meeting in South Monica. She's going to be a great new board member. One of the important things is we want diversity. We've got to put we need to put in leadership roles. My African American and Hispanic friends who were on the last board, they said, we didn't know what we were doing for the first 2 years, but other people looked and they saw that we were in those roles and they said, I belong here. Or I can do that too. And so we need to put young people and people with diverse backgrounds and colors into positions and have them grow into it somehow. But people are going to look at us and say, I don't belong here. They look at the platform, it's all white guys. Or it's all... I'm from Wisconsin, by the way. When I joined the society, it was the first taking over as executive director, one of the old guys came up to me and said, well, let me explain how it works here in Wisconsin. We got to the diversity messages. In this council, we've got Irish members and German members. So we get a German member, and they pay off the debts for the store, we put a little money away, we fix the roof, and then we get an Irishman, they spend it all on the poor. And we needed that diversity, right? Otherwise we have nice roofs but no service. Where we have a lot of service and leaky roofs and broken down trucks. So extend that out to the much broader diversity we all need. The young people will be, the people that are returning citizens will be, people of color will be. I was with the Hispanic group, and after 2 hours of dancing and singing, I had to go watch the Badgers win the football game. So I left at 10 o'clock. But their culture will be richness in our society, for instance. Systemic Change Committee, Jack Murphy's leading up, and that's an ongoing with the AHA process, building bridges, and more and more we learned that we need to be more than a safety net organization. We need to work to bring people out of poverty. Success is going out of business, not doing more and more and more. If we can keep some people from not needing income every month, that's success. We have a Voice of the Poor Committee, looking advocacy. The Reentry Task Force, we formally initiated at our meeting a month ago. Our chair is Jim in Iowa, with Steve there, and you all are going to be having representatives and part of that. Barb's leading that as a staff. It's a new task force. The Housing Task Force is also a new one. It's re-established. Governance committees is the people that work through the bylaws, the rules, with this whole process of changing tax exempt status. I think we maybe will need to change how we do business. We will have a new set of bylaws coming for your councils to approve within the next 3 months or so. We did have them done in time for national meeting. All that's just ongoing. We also have some lawsuits, believe it or not, that defend the society's name. Some people think they can just use our name and start stores and do whatever they want. And we used to let that go on. And in this day with the internet, we have to say no. People were raising funds. There were areas where we wanted to start a store ourselves, and someone already there with a store that had nothing to do with it. So that's the kind of work the governance committee. Store committee, great committee. Communication and marketing. So all these groups are existing. If you have people locally, or you personally, want to do some of this on a regional or national level, let me know, let Ralph know, let Jack know. But all of this is stuff that it needs to come from the ground up. Otherwise it's not useful. We're divided into 8 regions in the country. John Hallisey from Sacramento is your current regional president. Brian O'Donnell from Phoenix was the previous one. And a lot of the things that come from national really have people at the regional meetings that work with your national council members and push them, advance the initiatives forward. Our rule makes it real clear that with this line in the very first part, it says, faithful to the spirit of its founders, the society constantly strives for renewal, adapting to changing world conditions. That's what this plan is about. If we don't continually look at how the world's changing around us, we're going to be left in the dust. It's irrelevant. And it isn't just being left in the dust being irrelevant. That's important to people we serve. It's not about us and keeping this great organization going. It's who will be harmed for the people that we serve. Who will also be harmed, those the people who won't find the friendship, who won't find those opportunities to or they grow in their homes. So it really is sacred, important work to make these changes and to not be left in the dust. Certainly Pope Francis is understanding that the church needs to change. In terms of this one passage from the Gaudium to join the gospel, we've heard him say this in many different ways. But I want a church which is poor and for the poor. They have much to teach us. And I hope you've all experienced that. I've experienced it. I can tell many stories of people I met who just kind of set my. I thought I knew everything about different topics, and I heard something. There's one thing they say, oh, yeah, I got to think about this thing. So, they have much to teach. We're called to find Christ in them, to lend our voices to their causes, but also to be their friends, to listen to them, to speak for them as they have their own ways to speak with them, and to embrace the mysterious wisdom which God wishes to share with us through. That's what we got, isn't it? It's the society of this with Paul. I'll talk a little bit more tomorrow about some of the topics that kind of emerge on the sideline of this. As we come to the end of what I wanted to talk about tonight, I wanted to read a long passage, but let me give a little background to it. Some of you may have heard a line that is in there, where Frederick Ozanam says that we learn the knowledge of reform of the welfare system less from books, seminars, and climbing the stairs of the poor man by sitting next to his bed. How many of you have heard that quote before? It's a beautiful quote. We use it often for systemic change. Grace Sickinger and I do a lot of history of Ozanam and things. And, it's bothering a lot of us. We don't know where that quote came from. And I hate using quotes that I don't know where it came from, because I find things they make up all the time. They're just wrong. But this has been around long enough. We knew it probably was true, but we like to know where it came from. And so, by being on the international, I had a suspicion where it was. And I was at a meeting in Spain in the summer, and a great conversation with some of the people in the Paris office. I said, can you get, I think it's in this book, they've been digitalizing some of the things. Could you digitalize this one book? And I think what I want is in there. And it was. Well, this story is exciting about weird things. But I found where that and several other good quotes are from. And so I want to read the bigger piece of it, because this, I think, it is really on my mind. I'm also working with the Voice of the Poor to not just be someone that rubber stamps, yeah, we're in favor of this legislation or not. I don't think that's what we need to be as voices for the poor. We need to be listening to them. Frederick captured beautifully in this. So, about Frederick, in 1848, France was in big turmoil. It was the first time they had wide open elections, their own senates and assemblies. It didn't end well. Napoleon's nephew had become emperor after it was all said and done. But the best stuff that Frederick Ozanam wrote about social justice, labor unions, taxation, a lot of the stuff that became really fundamental to Catholic social teaching, he wrote this year. He was nominated himself in the Assembly of France in Berlin, but we have a lot of his writings from this year, in 1848. Well, that same year, the international president, Adolfo Bowden, he was probably about 28 years old. He was the third president. He was actually wounded on one of the barricades, and you see like in Les Miserables, the big riots in the barricades. Our president was very seriously wounded on one of those barricades, and not able to attend meetings. So Frederick was never president of the society. He was president of the council of Lyon. He was vice president for a lot of years. And so when Bowden was in the hospital, not able to attend meetings, Frederick ran several meetings in 1848. And so this is at the end of 1848, his last address really to the assembly acting president. And it's long, so I'm going to ask you to close your eyes or don't sleep on me. You got another talk about it. But I think it's worth listening to the whole thing, because I discovered what was before and after it are significant. Sometimes we just cherry pick cute quotes, right? What's the quote? You'll recognize in the middle of the first paragraph the well-known quote that I mentioned. So here, Frederick says, and this is the end of this address. It says, yes, without doubt, it is too little to relieve the needy day by day. It is necessary to put the hand at the root of the evil, and by these reforms to diminish the causes of public misery. Right at the heart of systemic change. We didn't have that quote before using it. But he goes, we profess to believe that the science of welfare reform is learned less in the books and the minutes of seminars than by climbing up the floors of the poor man's house, than by sitting at his bedside, than in suffering the same cold as him, than by pulling him into the outpouring of a friendly conversation, sharing the secrets of his desolate heart. When we have fulfilled this ministry, not for a few months, but many years, when one has thus studied the poor at home, at school, at the hospital, not in one city only, but in many, but in the countryside, but in all the conditions where God has put it, then we begin to know the elements of this formidable problem of misery. Then we have the right to propose serious measures, and instead of frightening society, we give consolation and hope. There's another paragraph. What a great way. Sometimes I think we go advocating too fast. No, we've got to not just visit some, but lots of places, a lot of time. Then we have the right. But then how he ends it is not some divine thing. He says, God loves us. And instead of frightening society, we give consolation and hope. Isn't that great? That's what we want to do, is we advocate for social change. Then he goes on to say something that my friends who were really big advocates, of course, the poor aren't going to want me to share, but it needs to be shared. It says, gentlemen, when the Society of St. Vincent de Paul began in 1833, the political groups were as present as today, armed as today, irreconcilable as today. It was the need to unite ourselves in the midst of a disunited people that formed our first bonds. This is all going to sound like this week. Goes on and says, is this need not more urgent than ever? Do you not see that the division that penetrates everywhere among honest people, among Christians, and even in the homes of our families? And when the times are so difficult, the problems so serious, the designs of God so hidden, how could the best citizens not divide themselves and not bear in their opposition opinions all the warmth of their patriotism? So the Father Christian said, not to question the patriotism of people who disagree with
goes on, it says, the heart, however, needs rest, and the charity of an asylum where the noise of disputes does not penetrate. The Society of St. Vincent de Paul offers you this refuge. As we enter our peaceful conferences, political passions are left at the door. We are once assembled not to fight each other, not to tear each other apart, but to get along, to see each other in a way on the right sides, to deal with charitable questions which are capable of calming down for a moment all the irritations, the forgetting the creases of our hearts. Last line alone. When every morning 20 newspapers are busy stirring up our anger, it is good that at least once a week we would appease them by talking about the Lord and others. Sounds like my week. But I think all that tells me our founders got it. We need to give it to the church in the U.S. by focusing and listening to the poor, what the needs are, not making it political, assuming goodwill from all sides, we can be the refuge that people are hungry for. Find that friendship, to find a place where they can grow in spirituality, but they can assume you're friends first. And a lot of times, people don't disagree about what needs to be done, they disagree about how to do it. So I think that if we look at our roots, make a firm foundation for it, to have that vision then, and I think if we firmly are able to do that, people will want to be part of that. We will be a place in our parishes, in our communities. That mission statement really shines. That we're a network of friends inspired by gospel values, growing in holiness and building a more just world through personal relationships with and service to people in need. So that's my start.